Hi, I'm Shayla. I work on Ireland for the RSPB, coordinating the St. Helena Cloud Forest project. We are a collaborative, multi-year project working to implement the management plan for the Peaks National Park. Our project aims to provide benefits for the island's water security, biodiversity, and local people through habitat restoration and conservation. We are utilising a nature-based solution to mitigate the predicted impacts of climate change on St. Helena. This film shows a number of clips from local and international partners showing what they do and what they enjoy about our project.
So whereas previously we might do little projects and it's here, there, and it's kind of doing one thing and then you do another thing. So you go from one Darwin project to another Darwin project. What has changed in terms of this project is the whole systems approach, and not just the fact that we're looking at a whole biological system here, and we're approaching it looking at different processes. So the soils is just one part of a bigger project where we're looking at water, and we're also looking at biodiversity and how that all comes down to people too. And this is kind of the first time for me that this has all kind of come together in a systems approach, and where the St. Helena partners and leaders on this project have been able to build a project team that can deliver that, and it is specifically down to the St. Helena partners. They've brought all this together. It's kind of been a long time coming, but this is a unique project that I don't see any parallels anywhere else that I've worked. This is a whole systems approach to something that is, you don't find this cloud forest anywhere else in the world. It's utterly unique, and it's utterly part of St. Helena.
Okay. So I am Sheena Benjamin, and I am the Education and Outreach for the National Trust, but I also work as the Education and Outreach for the Cloud Forest project as well. So I think education and outreach ranges from the youth groups, schools, right up to the general public. So what we're doing is kind of working away from the bottom up. So the biggest output that we've had so far is the education pack, which is aimed at primary school children. I'm now working on the secondary education pack, and the aim is just to kind of inform and disseminate what's going on within the project. So I also lead or support with any of the outreach activities, which could be within schools or during the days.
So we're now in the seed processing facility of EMD at Scotland. It's a little bit cooler up here, and what we're now doing is we're working on seeds. Seeds are little propagules that most plants have that allow them to survive for a very long time. And fundamentally, there are two types of seed. There are seeds that are called orthodox, which can be dried, and seeds that are called recalcitrant that can't be dried. Unfortunately, on St. Helena, there's only one species that is recalcitrant, and that species is the she cabbage, okay, which is going to prove difficult to store as a seed, but it's something we're going to look at. The rest of them are all orthodox, which means that we can dry them, and then when we've dried them, we can freeze them, and if we do that properly, the seeds can last for hundreds of years, which is really valuable. And basically, seeds have been brought in, and originally they were in fruiting bodies, and these have to dry out and open to release the seeds. And once the seeds have dried and they're opened, we then have to clean the seeds. So this is an example showing bits of plant material, and inside are the seeds. And what happens is you gradually take out all the material. So the fine material goes through to the bottom, and there's no good seeds in there because we've selected the size of the sieve to make sure it captures the seeds. Just give it another little rattle. So you carefully place all the matter in there, the seed and non-seed material, pop it in there. And so what you've got now is you've got a fan blasting from underneath, and it's controlled by this very simple lever. And if you watch, you'll be able to see gradually the seeds will start moving, and the light non-seed material will be carried in the airflow into the hopper at the top. And hopefully, if this has worked, what you get is a really nice clean split. So there's a few little bits that need to be taken out with tweezers, but basically we've got mostly good seed.
Yes, I'm Robert George. I'm the water resource monitoring technician, and I'm employed to the Cloud Forest project, but I'm stationed at Connect, working with Connect. So my day-to-day job is the monitoring of our water resources. So that is what we're getting coming in. So that is our rainfall and mist capture, and also monitoring where it goes through the streams and groundwater and what comes out. So that's the basis of it. And then there are a lot of steps in between to get that information. It's been very interesting. I've been to a lot of places that would never have been without this job. So you get a good appreciation of the island. So my previous career, I was a firefighter. So I was working with water in a way. But certain aspects were very relatable. So that was quite helpful. A lot of things were different and I had to learn quite a bit, but a lot of concepts I was able to grasp quite quickly because of I can relate it to my previous work.
So on this roadside bank here we have a population of small kidney fern, which is one of the really rare endemics of St Helena. And what we've managed to do is we've found some really good fronds in the perfect condition to be able to collect spores for propagation. Some of the fronds were slightly beyond the collecting stage and the spores had already been released. Some of them were a little bit immature and the fronds hadn't fully developed the spores yet, but some of them were just in the sweet spot where they're just ready to pop the spores, and fortunately I've been able to collect a few examples like that to be able to grow back in the lab. The other thing I was looking at down here was that I was just wanting to check whether there was natural regeneration of ferns by spore, because ferns can also reproduce vegetatively by spreading runners and rhizomes through the soil, but that's essentially cloning, so you don't get the genetic variation. But if you can show that they're reproducing by spores, that's good news, because that means there's good genetic diversity, even in a small population like this. So that's what I was checking down there. We'll leave those alone, but we'll take back the spores.
As Denzel George, as a conservation worker at the peaks. Oh, going on for 7 years now. Cleaning, mostly cleaning now, strips, yeah. But a bit awkward now, with the bad weather, slipping, sliding, and we don't have, squashing down there, but some we're not supposed to be doing squashing the earth down amongst the bushes, plants and that, and more. Planting as well, yeah, planting young trees.
Yeah.
And that's a everyday work, like planting, cleaning, looking after all the young plants and that. Oh, the bike we eat, blueberry there, and some dilly dike there, all bugs there. We're not up to cut down a lot of yam and that, we're getting rid of, but first we're getting rid of it, come here, go and you never get rid of it. It's just shooting from the roots, Oh, I enjoy it all. Yeah, as long as you got good, full working team, that's the best at the time. When you get full gang. But not good gang, you could just cut 1 or 2, 3, do it almost every day.
Hi, I'm Marcella Corcoran and I've come to St Helena from the Royal Botanic Gardens Kew, and this is not my first time on the island. I've worked with the endemic plants of St Helena with Vanessa for a very long time. I've been here probably 4 times, and my role throughout those visits, and including this one, is developing ways of best growing the endemic plants. And for the Peaks project and the cloud forest restoration, it's important that we grow very robust plants that are going to live long into the future. We have to ensure that the roots are good to hold them for that many years. So that all starts in sowing the seed. So here's some trays of seeds that have been sown. So what we've done in the past and what we will continue to do is experiment So run trials and document how the things best grow.
The false gumwood is still classed as a critical endangered species because I've only got 4 out here growing in the world. And I think up cases we probably hit 100 plus, but the problem what I've been in the nursery work and what I do here with the false gumwood is I've got quite a few seed, but in the nursery they germinate, good germination, to plants healthy enough to go out. And the problem is when they go out, there's the time when they struggle. So like us need to find areas to plant these false gumwood where they will actually grow. I think it was about 15 years ago, I think so, when I did plant about 500 false gumwoods back in this area, and about 2 survive, and that's what's growing out here now. The reason they might not survive, it could be like variety of things, you know, the pests, it could be the pests and diseases. Also, when I was planted out here, it was very dry. Sometimes the plants get used to, in the nursery, they get so used to being like, you know, a baby or an ass up, should I say. And probably, you know, they miss their kind of, you know, or the rains probably never come, you know, in that period of time. So it could be, you know, sad amount of things, you know.
I'm Quentin Cronk. I'm a botanist and study the plants of St. Helena, and I live in Vancouver, British Columbia. And I've been to St. Helena several times, and it's always a real pleasure to be here. I'm very pleased to be part of this project. Actually, it's very interesting because a few years ago when I came, I saw I was actually quite depressed because I saw the small amount of vegetation of endemic vegetation on the peaks, and I saw all the weeds moving in, the whiteweed and the blackberry, and I thought, you know, this is really bad, and it's not going to last much longer. But coming this time, I've been really, really quite pleasantly surprised, because some of the restoration work that's being done up there is being really successful. So the crew that's working, the crews that are working on the peaks have made wonderful restored corridors of endemic vegetation that's connecting patches, and that's really important work because it's the start of expanding the cloud forest on the peaks, which is good for conservation, for tourism, for water security. It's good for so many reasons, and the restoration work is starting to work, and if we can get it even better, then things are looking pretty good.
And then finally, to our oldest serving employee, we know him affectionately as our ration box. I think down tonight it was to recognise those involved and continue to be involved with the Cloud Forest project in and around terrestrial conservation generally as well. So you'll see people who have contributed to terrestrial conservation in the past, as well as those who have continued to do that today. In the past, we know a lot of it was about trying to clear invasive flags, other invasive plants, and to try and get rehabilitation work done, trying to revegetate those areas. Over the years we've learned significantly as well in terms of the assistance we've been given with rehabilitation and habitat management work, species work as well, and the local knowledge that the workers themselves have found by working in the peaks over the years, things they're able to do much better now as well. So it's not just about them physically just doing clearing work and planting trees and plants, but it's also about monitoring, surveillance, and also other activities, you know, anything that we can do in terms of furthering the safeguarding of habitats and species on the peaks.
Well, we did 2 weeks in Kew. We did microprop, which we're doing in the lab as the training now, coming into practice, which is good. And then we went to the Millennium seed bank, and there we see how they store seeds and how they can identify from dormant to know the seed which not reliable. And the amazing thing is about that, though it can be storms, hurricane, bomb, whatever, those seeds are still protected no matter what. So, and the place is really, really nice.
So it's been really interesting coming to the island. So we've been working with people on the cloud forest program for now several years, and to actually see the cloud forest and see the big biodiversity of the plants, and especially the endemic plants here on the island. So we study soils, and we study the microscopic life that's living in soils, and microbes are really abundant. There's about in each tablespoon of soils, there are more bacteria than humans on Earth. So there's a very rich diversity, and they're important for the nutrients, for the carbon, and breaking down organic matter. And we're hoping by studying and sequencing the microbes, we will better understand how the soils are supporting the plants. We're also hoping that by understanding how the life in the soils is different across different parts of the island, maybe we can help to inform how new areas can be found that could be maybe planted with endemic plants, and how the cloud forest might be expanded. We are collecting soil samples to take them back to the Natural History Museum in the UK to do DNA sequencing to describe the richness and composition of the microscopic life that's living in the soil. So we collect soils from a range of sites, particular sites where there are endemic trees, and the samples are collected by going to these sites. Then we collect samples really close to the tree, to see if really close to the tree the microbes are potentially specific to the tree.
My name is Martina Peters. I'm the head of conservation, the terrestrial side at the Trust, and I oversee all terrestrial projects, so the Wirebird project, Invertebrates, and Millennium Forest. So we had a trip to go and see like all restoration sites of what they've been doing to basically encourage invertebrates back into the area and to control invasive species, all that type of stuff. So we started off going to London at the Natural History Museum, which is more the entomology side of it. So we looked at invertebrates. So some of the St. Helena's extinct invertebrates, like the giant earwig, the St. Helena dragonfly, which I'd never seen ever before. So that was a great specimen to look at. And we also catched up on some work that the Natural History Museum is doing for us currently. So we have sent away inverts to be identified, and they were showing us how the whole process of how it goes through. For me, I quite like the bit in Scotland and in Ireland where they use like animals for grazing and stuff. It is just because we spend so much time here on land clearance and how to get rid of invasive species, and then it's always labor intensive for it, and then you have to come maintain it so often, whereas what they are doing is it takes less pressure trying to always get a pass and to go out there, because you're not always got the money to pay so many staff to get out. So it was quite nice to see the different techniques of how you control things. I can see I benefit in the Trust here. I can benefit the Trust through, so again, not just sticking to cloud forest, but also to the wider Trust. You know, when you think about habitat management, I am now currently doing a project application based on habitat management, like for the Wirebird. So I've already kind of taken what I've learned and some of those contacts, and now we're writing a project to go in. And in terms of cloud forest, we have like the invert stuff. So I was more plants, and the wirebird habitat management, that was more my type of field. But since going away, especially to Farah, with the identification, I've now kind of like, okay, maybe branched out into the inverts a bit more, so I have a much better understanding of inverts than I did when I first went.
Well, I'm still cute. I've been on the peaks now working 10 years as a conservation worker. I've been around the whole of the government, and this is the last place to come here to work now. So I enjoy it very well. Yeah, you know, like planting, like weeding. So I am a farmer, so I like a lot of planting and see the plants grow, you know. Well, at the moment, we're not planting at the moment. We just preparing to plant. But when we get ready, we'll plant like all sorts like cabbage and whitewood and redwood net, you know. It's the main ones we plant at the moment. But sometimes in the nash, you got some overflushed, and we get them with the biggest ones out first, you know, because they will get root bound otherwise. Well, you know, like working wrap the top right down over acting right down the bottom here, so you don't see the whole of Sandy Bay. So it's a nice view, and meeting with tourists. You know, I mean, I like talking to people, so like it's a very good thing, you know, seeing that people pass through, and you know. It's more up until, but down BBs now, but to low down for tourists to come BBs now, you know. But no, that's the highlight. I fancy, you know, working with a good team we got, you know. Yeah, so it's very, very good, I should say.
So what we've been doing is putting together an experimental design where we're looking at how the soil has changed across the island, and in particular across the peaks and the cloud forest. Because what we want to do is understand more about how the cloud forest vegetation supports building a better soil structure. We know there are more peaty soils up there. They're better for water because the peatier soil structure helps retain the water for longer. And we've done previous experiments and other Darwin projects where we've shown that when you get really high intensity rainfall events, it can take somewhere around 3 days for that new rainwater to actually reach the streams down there. And so the overarching principle for the cloud forest project is to restore more endemic cloud forest, bring in more mist, help that rain and the mist to be retained higher up in the peaks, and that stops it flowing out to sea very quickly. But the soil structure you're creating by planting more endemic cloud forest helps you to retain that water for longer, and that's one of the elements of the cloud forest project we're doing. So the training today was to go out and collect several different types of soil samples. So we're looking at the type of vegetation that's in the soil through eDNA analysis, so looking at how biodiverse the soil is in one place. We're looking at the type of soil that we have there, how deep the soil is, and also we're doing some infiltration tests to see how quickly does it take moisture to actually travel through into the soil and perhaps go into the lower aquifers. And at the end of it all, we'll have a number of samples across the whole of the peaks, which should give us an idea on the changes in infiltration for different soil types and the changes in soil as you go around different locations. We've also got a number of soil sample sites which are outside of the peaks themselves, but they link back into the peaks through the kind of water catchments. And what we're doing there is that we're understanding how the soil has changed and how that functions for water, with the idea that those catchments themselves, they derive their water from the cloud forest, and they're all, so you see it linking through from the high ground all the way through to the lower ground there. And at the end of it, we should have a big story that helps us understand more about how the cloud forests function for the island water supply.
Okay, so I'm Lisa Fowler. I'm the cloud forest invertebrate specialist, and one of my jobs is to survey the cloud forest for invertebrate species. So working with invertebrates is very important. I think it needs to be exposed to the wider island as well, because invertebrates is very overlooked. And also we have like over 400 endemic invertebrates on the island. So we have to value that just as much as the plants, because some of these invertebrates is actually associated with the plants. So they only feed on particular plants. So we've got a few up here that I am actually monitoring at the moment as well. That is part of the surveys. But so far, since I've been doing the surveys, I've actually found that in the a new corridor we say new corridor that was planted, but it's about 4 years old. There actually have been a very promising amount of spiky yellow woodlice that has moved in, whereas before then, their whole site was covered in flax. So what I'm doing actually with all these invertebrates is that the indicator species will inform the conservation efforts and inform future work. So when visiting experts come here through projects, even on this project, it has a positive impact on the work that I am doing, because, for example, we just had Cabby come down through a Darwin project, and they are actually looking at the pathogens and all the diseases on the plants. But what they did was work with me as well, and one of the staff actually collected some of the leaf hoppers and took away with them so that they can analyze what pathogens or disease that the leaf hoppers or any other invertebrate that might be carrying any disease, and then take it back to get analyzed.
So we're here at Westminster in Portcullis House, the speakers' rooms in Portcullis House, at a reception hosted by St Helena government to celebrate their blue-green agenda, but focusing on and featuring some information about the Cloud Forest project, which has been absolutely fantastic. So it's been a really great event, really well attended. We've had ministers, we've had representatives from the community in St Helena, and a lot of the kind of project partners on the Cloud Forest project. But in particular, we had speeches this evening from Lord Goldsmith, the Speaker himself, from Chief Minister Julie Thomas of St Helena, and from RSPB's Chief Executive Becky Spate, as well as Shayla Ellick, who's our St Helena Cloud Forest Coordinator on Island. It's been a really fantastic evening, actually. I mean, it's the kind of first time I've come to something like this. Really amazing environment, absolutely fantastic to see the support from government and from the St Helena community for the project, but also the opportunity to just raise the profile of this amazing and kind of such a globally important project for conservation and habitat restoration taking place on St Helena.
So my name is Mari Henry. I'm a meteorological scientific observer. So we're back here at the weather station at the Met Office. We do general surface observations and also the upper air sense, which we release the balloon to get the weather data. So our involvement is from the climatology side. So we help provide all the climate data. So we have, well, it kind of follows on from our Darwin Plus project. We were involved with the Darwin Plus project a couple of years before the actual cloud forest started off, whereby we installed automatic weather stations throughout the island. So we have 7 stations throughout the island, kind of spotted in, kind of to give cover the island as best we can. And also we have two that was purchased through the cloud for us to kind of bow on top of this network as well. So we're providing climate data in terms of like rainfall, which is what they're mostly interested in, temperatures, humidity, wind speed. And basically we can use that to kind of give them, for the analysis of the cloud forest, to see when how much rainfall is in, say for example, the peaks, high peak or the depot, which is the 3 areas they are interested in. But we also have the other stations which will carry on from the Darwin project, which we can kind of use it to expand the network as well. And from here, we kind of looking to gauge, well, from our cloud-based recorder we have, which we're hoping to get an upgraded version of, we will be able to tell when it's actually like low cloud, even though there isn't any rain. But low cloud sometimes can be up to peaks when there is like no cloud here, for example. So the cloud-based recorder can pick up on that, so we can give an indication of when there's actual cloud at the peaks, which probably could produce mist or some moisture, which the plants and vegetation can absorb.
My name is Elizabeth Mulling-Smith, and I'm a geologist. For the past 2 weeks, we've been working on the Cloud Forest Restoration Project, and we've been applying new techniques to understand the geology to help with the water resources management. Notable discoveries have included answers to some burning questions in terms of the resource management, why some boreholes you have water losses, and why some boreholes there's just no water. So we have found out why, and that information will help connect in its management going forward. And we have put in recommendations to help rehabilitate wells and bring some more assets back online. The best part of the project, well, St. Helena is a very special place, and I think the accessibility of the geology to enable me to then interpret what we're getting in terms of information from the techniques we're applying. We don't have that luxury normally, so that's been, I think, the most rewarding aspect.
So once all the seed come into the nursery, from the field, what we do is we put the information onto the database. So we have an ECS number. So ECS means Environmental Conservation Section. So if we store it in the freezer or fridge, and if we plant out part of this collection, it always go with this ECS number. So we can track it from collecting the seed, planting it, and transplanting it back in the field. So it always have this number. We know every plant we put out. So we record also in a hard book here. So seeds in ECS, or if I send the seeds to MSB. So we re-record everything what go in here. It was created for us by Q anyway, and we just add on to it. We collect that, and then the habitat, maybe cliffs, and then any information what plants have grown around it. So it can be wild mango, anything like that. And then we have populations. Is it natural? If we plant or cultivate it, or if it mix, then we will add. So for the ebony, it's planted, and the soil type, color, the drainage, if it's rock, if it's gritty, sandy, sand, or whatever, we just, add it in. So maybe clay. For the ebony, I sample from 6 plants in the garden, and then if it's from north, south, east, west, and soil texture, if it's fine, medium, coarse, you add all of that information as well. We also did a GPS readings as well. And then who identify it, was it harvest, early or mid-season? And then any other note you want to write. So like for example, the ebonies now, that was collected from the cliff at Blue Point for the second time in history. So I would write that in there. So if anybody else want to come back, when I retire, then somebody else can read the information. So that's why I have data, so they don't get lost.
Hi, my name's Zach Bargo. I am the research assistant for St. Helena Research Institute. And my job role is to support researchers carrying out research, very important research, around the cloud forest. So I've been having to go up on the field as well as in the office, but on the field it's more, I had this one researcher called Svet, and he was studying the microbiome of bryophytes, which are like mosses, liverworts and hornworts. And we need those up the peaks because they actually fix nitrogen into the soil and the trees. And because of climate change and other aspects of life, there's been a lack of nutrients, and it's getting quite poor up there. But it's quite important to know what is in the microbiome so we can help it to maybe inoculate stuff that actually needs to be up there. But it's just to understand the chemistry and the biology of what's in the soil that we can't see with the naked eye.
Yeah, I'm Michel Groen. I'm from the Netherlands. And my occupation is hydrogeologist, geophysicist. On St. Helena, I've been working in the Cloud Forest project, the restoration project, together with our partner Connect. in order to link the geology into the hydrogeology by the help of geophysics. Yeah, because the water balance is the backbone of everything, but from the water balance we learn that we are losing some of the water. We don't know where it goes. And that's where comes in the geophysics, and where we want to find out where the water goes, so then we maybe find more water available for drinking water. What we found with our method, it's the first time we use this on volcanic islands like St. Helena, and yeah, we could really look into the subsurface, and there we saw that the rock formations really lead the water into directions you don't expect. The biggest challenge is well, even to go deeper and really then know in the end where you could find this disappearing water, where you can drill or maybe make small dams in order to be secure, the water security for the future.
My name is Lawrence Murangano. I'm the technical director for Connect St. Helena. I'm responsible for the water team, for the project, and for the sewage. Has there been benefit from the cloud forest? Quite a number. My fingers won't be enough for me to count all the benefits. I think having data is key in any decision making. And every data that we find assists us in every decision making. One of the things that we did early this year was when the rainfall amount and the weather patterns were showing a drought, we are actually tapping into that data to see what it is informing us. So every kind of data that we collect, it always assists us in making sure that the decisions that we make within Connect are more informed. So from the project, we have benefited from that. There are other things that we have managed to benefit from the project, which include procurement of equipment such as a borehole camera. We managed to do some borehole camera survey to just confirm, because 2017 there were a few boreholes, exploration boreholes that were drilled. Some of them, because they were drilled in such a quick manner, we wanted to have probably a better understanding of the geology. With the camera that was bought through the project, we had an appreciation to extrapolate some of the geology from that. That's a benefit because it then gives you the levels of, in terms of even the distribution of your aquifers, you can always use that data, and it can inform you in terms of how your springs are performing just by relating to the geology that is coming from that information. We have benefited also by partnering, by supported partners. Within St. Helena, we have managed to work with EMD, St. Helena National Trust, just to be able to appreciate that when we get the water, what impact does it have to the other. And the work that they are doing in terms of planting and having more trees and having the endemics intercepting the mist, that has a benefit in terms of having more water being retained and ending up in our reservoirs and ending up into the people's taps. So there have been quite a number of benefits, physical benefits, data benefits that we are using as Connect, and we will continue to use within Connect.